Pokemon has always been one of my favorite franchises. As someone who grew up with the games from the start, naturally I formed many different opinions about them throughout my life. But one thing always seems constant for me, and it's that no matter what age I am, I always have fun playing the first 5 gens. Even with all the objective flaws of Gen 1, I just love its simple premise, a rival who you really want to beat, and so many classic Pokemon that never seem less cool or exciting. I think the Generation 1 Pokemon have held up for all these years. There was just a charm to these earlier games, and even though not much changed in terms of core gameplay, each new region had a unique adventure, new Pokemon always added new possibilities to team building, and they made constant strides to make the world around you more engaging as well, to the point where these became some of the most immersive single-player games you could experience, with remakes in between new regions that gave a fresh coat of paint to the old classics, and incorporated newer ideas and Pokemon into familiar adventures. But for me, it was at Gen 6 where this formula became a bit redundant. Sure, you could argue that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but the first 5 gens of this franchise have become timeless games that will forever preserve Pokemon's simplistic ideals as the blueprint for creating something that will stand the test of time. So it was only natural that I began to expect something new from Pokemon, to see if they could take the proven success of their formula and transcend it into something fresh and exciting. And it seems like years later they may be headed toward that, but from Gen 6 through 8 so far, it seems like they were not only sticking to their guns, but actually regressing with the overall quality. I won't get into much detail in this video as to why I didn't enjoy these gens as much, but with Sword and Shield especially, it felt like a step backward instead of the triumphant debut of a mainline, fully 3D Pokemon game on a flagship Nintendo console. During this time, my excitement for Pokemon has diminished significantly, and I've come to expect disappointment more often than excitement. I didn't even try the new expansions of Sword and Shield, and while many people claimed it was a solid addition, I was just too disappointed by the base game to feel compelled to purchase it. I felt the same with Ultra Sun and Moon, and the last mainline game that I really enjoyed was Black White 2. So, to my pleasant surprise, when I saw Pokemon Arceus, a genuine curiosity came back to me. A real excitement to see some brand new gameplay mechanics. A game that actually looks like a shift in the Pokemon mentality that's been so heavily enforced for decades. A trip to a past world that has familiar Pokemon, but a whole new way to experience it. This is what I've been waiting to see from Pokemon, and I'm excited again. Now, of course, this is still Pokemon we're talking about. There's still valid criticisms to be made. Graphically, it's not up to snuff by AAA standards, let alone one of the richest gaming companies on Earth. Other companies would consider a tenth of the success of Pokemon as a life-fulfilling venture, so you would think that an absolute titan of the industry would be able to pour a huge budget into making this game look great, especially with so many indie devs consistently crushing it in the visual department. But with Arceus, there's a lot to be desired, and I think the people who are upset by this have reason to be. However, for me personally, I've never cared about graphics much in Pokemon. I think graphics are an important aspect in video games. I'm not the person who's going to tell you that they don't matter compared to other aspects, or don't even matter at all. An appealing visual look to a game goes a long way for me. But I grew up looking at this, and this, and this. So I really don't care much as long as the models are well made. At least do the models justice, and I'm good. I've seen people argue that this is just the art style of the game, but I mean there's a lot of rendering issues that go beyond an art style, so I don't know. Another question is the gameplay itself. We've seen some new mechanics introduced that look cool, the world around you seems to function like an action RPG at times, and you can get murdered by an Ursaring. But how extensive are they willing to go? Will they lean too much on the classic battle mechanics once again with just a few added bells and whistles? Or will this genuinely feel like a brand new Pokemon experience? An experience that could potentially make being a trainer even more interesting? I'm hoping it's the latter, but if there's one franchise that is often stubborn, it's Pokemon. Also, there hopefully won't be frame drops with the final game, but that is a concern of mine at the moment, and it will be a huge complaint if it releases with consistent frame drops. I think a better example of a defining art style would be the Gen 4 remakes, which look great for what they are. I think it's cool they stuck to the traditional gameplay for it. It's a nice contrast to Arceus in that it will offer the classic experience to players who would like to stay in that wheelhouse instead of go for something new. It's a good alternative for traditionalists while everyone else has a chance to try something else. So I really have nothing bad to say about the Gen 4 remakes. Job well done on those. But for me personally, Arceus is the more important of the upcoming games, and more relevant for the future of the franchise, so I'm going in with caution. But for the first time since Gen 5, I'm actually excited to get my hands on a new Pokemon game next year. So, let me know what you guys think of the direction of Pokemon. Are you also cautiously optimistic, 100% excited, or not excited at all? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And if anyone even thinks about laying a finger on the new Growlithe, I'm gonna have to fucking eliminate you! Alright, deuces.